Hello, and welcome back to First Love Yourself, where love, life, and Christ combine. I am so grateful to have you here on this journey of self discovery and empowerment with me. In today's video, we're going to talk about the flow of obedience. But before we get started, if you're new here, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on more uplifting, empowering content like this. So get comfortable because we are about to get into it. Let's go. Okay, so Happy New Year, first off. Thank you so much for tuning in at the beginning of the new year. Thank you for supporting me as we have journeyed on this empowering, amazing journey that God has set forth for all of us in our lives. And I'm so happy that you guys can be a part of this and that you're allowing me to be able to pour into you from what I've learned each day. So, the flow of obedience. Earlier this morning, usually every morning I read the Bible and I go through and it's different scriptures. Sometimes it's the same one God has me reading over and over again until I get it. And then when I get it, I'll be like, okay, I see why I had to read it a couple times because I need to get that in my spirit. And so as I'm reading the Bible today, I'm in Acts 12. And today I just started to see things that I hadn't noticed before. And so I have read this story about Peter being locked up over and over again, like going to prison because Herod, for those of you that don't know, is one of the ones that killed, I think, John's brother or something like that. And he was like power hungry. He just going around trying to get everybody, out of here. And so he's doing all of that, just doing the most. And in this story, he is trying to arrest Peter because he's spreading the gospel. And so he gets 4 squads of soldiers. See, at first, the first time I read it, I thought it said 4 soldiers. And I was like, oh, okay, soldiers, that's good. 4 people, north, south, east, west, front, back, side to side. He can't escape because he covered, he can't get away regardless. Like, no matter, he turned this way, somebody there. But then as I read today, and I was like, oh, it says 4 squads, not just 4 soldiers. 4 squads of soldiers. Like he had soldiers on soldiers on soldiers trying to block Peter because he knew he was going to have to really be about it in order to make sure that Peter couldn't escape, right? And so so I'm reading it and I'm like, oh wow, like the the extraness that Herod had to have in order to have Peter guarded was just like, wow, like it took all of that for him to try to guard Peter from escaping from prison, right? And the next thing I saw is that the church had been in constant prayer. Even when Peter wasn't praying, even when Peter gave up hope, or he didn't give up hope, but he was sitting in jail, he just kind of, I don't want to say he had given up. I don't believe that he gave up. And this is just my opinion. But even though he didn't in that moment have the faith, he was just being obedient, or he was just sitting in prison, there were people around him, people who knew him, people who believed for him, people who had faith for him, that were praying on his behalf. And that's what the church did in this moment. They were in constant prayer, and because they were in constant prayer, an angel was sent to deliver Peter out of prison. And as he sat there, the angel spoke to him and said, Peter, arise, like arise quickly, get up. And he was obedient. He got up immediately. Then she told him to put on his sandals and put on his garment or whatever else. And he did each thing as he was told to do it. And it just illuminated in my mind how the power of obedience and faith really does matter in our lives. Sometimes we feel like we don't have enough faith. Like my faith was low the last couple of months. I'm not even going to sit here and try to pretend like I just be on 100 with faith every single day. Like sometimes my faith wavers. Sometimes I'm not as strong as I want to be in my religion and whatever else. And I really do try to be obedient to God. And sometimes it's hard because I want things in life. Like every human, we have the things that look shiny or the things that look amazing or the person that we want or whatever else. And God might not be in that relationship. He might not be in that job. He might not be with that person. And it's so hard to let go of those things because we want them so badly in our life. And I know, like, for me, the hardest thing is when someone doesn't do something wrong. And then I'm like, oh, I got to move on with my life. Like, I can't be friends with this person, not because they're a bad person, but because they're not grace for me and I'm not grace for them in this season. If they were friends with me and God blessed me and God is trying to do something different in my friend's life, it might not be a blessing for me to be a part of their life. If God is going to get this woman to get married and God is saying I need to be single in this season, it might not be good for me to be close to this person in this season. I'm not saying that God wouldn't let us be friends just because she was in a relationship. God could have me be friends with that person because she is, to show me hope and faith for what is to come in my future as well. But I also think that obedience is so necessary. Sometimes we don't understand that obedience is one of the most powerful forms of faith that you could possibly have. Because if you're not going to be obedient, then what's the point? You're going to miss out on a lot of blessings because you're being disobedient. And for me, I feel like that's how it's been lately. God had so many things lined up for me, and because I was disobedient, I didn't receive those things. And I even saw like what it was going to look like, what it could be. And I just couldn't even think of that being possible because I was just so distracted and so focused on the wrong things. And I was thinking about what I want. I was like, oh, this is good for me. Oh, yeah, this person looks good to me. Oh, yeah, this thing looks good to me. This job, this person, place, or thing is what I want. But I didn't think about what God wanted from my life. I didn't think how I could be hindering someone else because maybe it's not the time for that person yet. Maybe it's not my time yet. But because I was being selfish, because I was thinking about what could benefit me, I was being disobedient to God. And that's the worst position that you want to be in. And it didn't just mess with my my blessings, it messed with my faith. So in that season, instead of me being with a joyful, cheerful heart when I'm giving, I felt like a robot. I felt like my faith wasn't in it. I felt like I wasn't there. Like I was just going through emotions of Bible study, of church, of helping people. I really didn't, like, before the last few months, I really felt like my heart was in it. Like it brought me so much joy to help people. It brought me so much joy to be there for other people. It brought me so much joy to be in the presence of God, to be in church. And I still enjoyed going to church, but I felt like I wasn't there. I felt like I was walking into the church, I was sitting there, I was listening to the message, and I heard a few words, but it wasn't penetrating my soul. It felt like my heart wasn't open, like my heart was closed off to the message or something. And I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but I knew I needed to make a change. I knew that I needed to update my spiritual capacity, that I needed to regulate my thought process and really be intentional with what it is that I'm doing in life. And I really, really wanted those things that I had the last couple months so badly. And who's to say God might not bless me with that same thing in the future? But at this point in my life, I knew I needed to make the best decision for my faith. I needed to make sure that I was not hindering someone else because I wasn't being the best person that I could be in that season. I wasn't being patient and kind and all of the things that I am. I was being so over analytical, so just uneasy, discontent. I was just being someone that I'm not. And I really feel like God, that was like a big, like huge light that God was shining on me. Like, look, see, you're not ready in this position for this thing. You need to do this first. I got some work to do on the inside of you. I still have some things that I have to break off of you. But I feel like if God didn't show me that, if he would have just gave me it, if he wouldn't have gave me it and I would have been obedient and I wouldn't have went through the trials and the tribulations, then I would have never known. I feel like I had to be in that specific scenario in order to understand that I wasn't ready, or in order to understand that that thing isn't, I'm not ready for that thing yet. Like I might want it, but just because you want something doesn't mean you're ready for it. And so in this season, I want to be intentionally being obedient so that everything God has for me can flow. I don't have to force the job because the job that's for me is going to be mine. I don't have to force the Porsche 911 coupe because if God wants me to drive that vehicle, I'm going to get it. I don't have to force the man because if the man wants me, he's going to get me. He's going to come after me with intentionality and pursuit that only something that's coming from God can do. So there's nothing in your life that you ever have to go all out the way and be doing the most to get if God has it for you. Everything that's God will flow. And I truly believe that obedience allows the flow of God to happen. When we are obedient, when it comes to his commands, when it comes to the things that he wants for our life, when it comes to discipline, when it comes to giving up things that we may want selfishly, but we give it up for God. Because of our obedience, God will give us something similar that's better, or that thing, but it will be on God's timing. It will not be on our timing. And God's timing is perfect. If I would have waited on God and allowed God to prep me in the right way, or if I would have been more obedient instead of just saying, oh, well, I'm going to do this now. And then God later on saying, okay, you could do this and I'm going to use it as a lesson. Then I think that it would have been more of a blessing. I would probably have not been as chaotic or hectic because my security comes from God. I could be really, and I feel okay being transparent in this moment. I could be really insecure when God is not a part of the decisions that I make in life, because I know that without God, it's not going to last. Without God, it's not going to be something that's going to be for the long haul. It's going to be something that's temporary. And the things in my life that I want, that I really, really want, I want them to be something that has longevity. I don't want any of those things to be temporary. So, as I'm setting the intention, I know everybody's probably doing this, but I did pick up a planner in November because I'm a pre-planner person. So I picked up this planner from Target. It's so cute. But it's got butterflies. Butterflies supposedly mean new beginnings. I don't go by all of that, but it is what it is. And also, it's got cute little stickers that help keep you organized. And they have hearts. It's got like a ruler in there. It's also got vacation, due dates, relax, date night, day off, and then a whole bunch of other things that are good for prioritizing your life, prioritizing your day. I would definitely suggest this. And I don't want to be one of these people, but I got to support the people. So yes, this beautiful young lady is the one that is the creator of this planner, and it is so cute. Like, there's bigger ones, but I just got a small one because I wanted something that could be convenient, that I could just pop in my bag and then just take it with me without having to feel like I need like a school bag or one of those giant duffels to carry it around. I also like that it does month to month planning, and then it also does week to week planning. And at the beginning of every week, it says weekly priorities, which I think will be really helpful for me because I'm over analytical and I can write down what my main goal is for the week without having to create a new space. And then during the week, I can write down the things that I've accomplished and check them off. So I definitely suggest getting a planner so you could be intentional for the year. So that when you say, I'm going to start reading, you could put down, I'm going to read. Sorry. I had to do this. I'm trying not to do the most, but I'm not used to having my hair straight. So I'm not just trying to be extra. It'll be in my face. It'll be going all over the place. I'm like, what is this? And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's my hair. But anyways, so this is a good way to stay intentional and to set your priorities for the year. So then that way, when you are going through this month, you won't say, oh my gosh, it's a whole month and I still haven't worked out. It's a whole month and I still haven't been obedient. It's a whole month and I still haven't blah. I have a pro tip that I think will be really helpful. So I saw this young lady. She said that she gives herself 5 fails every day. This year, allow yourself to fail. I know people are like, what? I should be winning. This is our season to win. Yeah, you're going to win. But in order to win, you have to fail as well. So as you're failing, try to give yourself grace. Don't be so hard on yourself and say, oh, I didn't do good on this one presentation. Listen, you learn from your mistakes. You didn't do good on the one presentation, but going forward, how would you change it? How would you do better? What did you learn from this experience? And then because you failed once, okay, you're doing something. Every time you fail, know that you're doing 90% better than most people, because most people would not be willing to fail and keep going, and you're still going. So that is amazing. So every day I will write down what you want to accomplish, and then When you fail the first time, say, oh yeah, I was expecting myself to fail at least once today. So that's good. I got the one fail out the way. Second fail, you'd be like, okay, I failed this time. It's good. I'm still learning. So now that I fail at this, I know next time I'm going to do this. Third fail, okay. I mean, it's three. It's not three strikes you're out. It's three fails. Okay. Oh well. It is what it is. Keep it moving. Fourth fail, you're gonna be like, okay, it's a fail, oh well. The next one is gonna be a win. And most of the times, most people fail like 3 times a day or something like that, unless it's something that you're the one fail that you're just counting over and over again, like, oh yeah, I did this 12 times. No, we're not doing that. I'm talking about you fail one specific thing, even if it's like you try it 12 times, but you fail, that's one fail. If you do something else that's totally different and you fail at that, that's something totally different. That's not the same thing. So each one of your fails, you don't have to count and say, I did 3 fails or 4 fails today, but just give yourself grace when you do fail and allow yourself to have 5 fails a day. Then that way you're already expecting yourself to be able to overcome the failures. So you will always win. And every day when you do that, at the end of the week, you're going to see how much you've accomplished because you didn't give up on yourself. You know how many changes you can make in the world if you would just keep going. When you give up on yourself after the first fail, that person that's waiting on you, that was looking for you to make way for them, is not going to be able to get there because you gave up on yourself too soon. Don't ever give up on yourself. You have to keep going. You have to put forth that work. You got to put in that work. You got to do what you got to do and get it. Like, don't ever feel like you can't accomplish something in life just because it didn't work out in the past, because that was just a stepping stone. That's just a lesson. That is not your life. That's a moment in your life, a moment in a chapter of your life, not your entire life. You have to keep going. So in this season, let's try to plan a little better. So that way we don't say, oh, it's been a week already, or it's been a month already, the end of January. And for all the people that say, I'm going to eat right this year, I'm going to exercise, listen, it's harder than you think it is. I know, I've been there, I've done that. It's not always easy to just pick up and start exercising and just get it all together and just be like, oh, I'm going to just do this. It's good. I'm good. At the end. No. When you skip, you will have a day where you won't feel like exercising and you might not exercise that day. The very next day, get up and exercise. Do something active instead of exercising. If you feel like you just don't got it in you, do walking if you have to. Walk at least a mile a day. And I say a mile because the doctor told me 2 miles and that was pushing it, but I still made it through. But I feel like you could accomplish 2 miles if you set your mind to it. And once you start walking, it's not going to feel like a lot. It's going to feel like a little. And then just continue to keep going. Don't give up on yourself. And whenever you look down and you're like, oh no, I missed workout yesterday, don't worry about it. Work out today. And when you say, oh, it's been a week and now I messed up my whole thing, now I can't get back on schedule, I can't work out. Yes, you can. Who said that you had to get it right in that first week? Keep going. You got to dust yourself off. I'm about to quote Aaliyah and try again. But Prophet Aaliyah. But no, listen, you really just got to keep getting back up. You cannot stay down there too long because you will start to feel bad for yourself. You'll start to beat up on yourself and you'll start to get sad. You don't want to be in a sad mindset this year. You want to be happy. You want to have joy. You want to have peace and joy unspeakable in your life. You want to have the type of life that you dreamed of. And if you really want it bad, you want that thing so bad. When you want it that bad, there's nothing that will be able to talk you out of your dream. You have to keep going. Don't ever give up on the things that you aspire to have in life because it's right at your fingertips. You are the only thing standing in your way. You have to keep going. So in this season, be obedient and allow the things that God wants for you to flow and set your intentions so that you could prioritize your life in the right way. Because it all starts with your mindset, with your perspective, and with you being intentional about your life. So I hope that you do those things because I want everybody to have what God intends for their life, what God wants for us. Every single thing, everything. Like, imagine your best life. I want you to have that. Like, you used to work crappy jobs, now you're about to work the best job of your life. You used to be in bad relationships, you're about to be with the best man that you have ever been with in your entire life. You used to have this thing that was everything to you, now you're about to get better things in your life. Like, you don't understand. You got to stop standing in your own way, because the life of your dreams is right in front of you. You just have to be ready to receive it. So thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good, amazing Monday. Set the day right. We got this. Bye.